No, you don't. Good morning. Hello and welcome. I'm Andy.
Yeah, and I'm Mark.
This is Strange Stuff Podcast.
Sorry, you say I feel a bit dark here. Let me put the light on. Hang on.
You look fine.
There we go. That's a bit better, isn't it?
Your light makes no difference whatsoever. You look fine.
What? Why?
I don't
Of course it does.
understand why you feel you look dark. You don't look dark.
All right. Good. Good. Yes. So, how's your week been?
Mental. I was sick as a dog for Monday and Tuesday.
Cough and cold symptoms.
Yeah.
Was it?
Sore throat. Yeah. Really sore throat.
I reckon half of Sweden have come down with that.
Yeah, I think so. So, then I was trying to record with Richard, and twice we had to cancel because of internet
You're an idiot.
connections. No,
Because
that
of
was
the elections? What elections?
internet connections.
Oh, dear. Oh, that's always frustrating. Normally it happens to me.
Yeah, well, it threw my whole, with everything, I fucked up a little bit because although I'd edited and got our episode ready for release, I didn't actually upload it.
All right.
And I
realized,
realized,
you did something. Yeah, you did something. I saw on Facebook.
Yeah, I realized just now that it wasn't ready for release.
Oh,
so
dear.
I had to upload it and let it process. I don't even know if it's finished processing.
All right.
I can have a look. And yes, it's up now.
Good.
Finally. So that is good.
Excellent.
What about you? Anything?
It's been an okay week. Yes, it's been an okay week. Izzy wasn't feeling great, but she's only got 5 weeks to go now, so that's good. Or 4 weeks to go, it might be now, actually.
What? That's quick.
Well, yeah, 40 weeks, actually. So I think it's
just doesn't. It feels like too quick.
Oh. So that took a little bit of time. And now, other than that, everything's fine. Though Ilva has been sick with a cough and a cold. I think half her office, well, in fact, nearly all of her office have been off at some stage over the last 2 or 3 weeks with the same thing.
Yeah.
And certainly a couple of weeks ago, there was a school in the area where half the people were away. It's so, yep. Oops. Oh dear. I forgot to turn my rather good JBL speakers off.
So you could hear the humming.
You could hear the humming?
No, I'm saying you could hear the humming.
No, I touched the jack.
And
it went... Huh? So, yeah. No, but other than that, everything's fine. It's been Vasalop-veckan.
Oh, yeah. So today was the actual Vasalop.
Exactly. So I watched it at...
Did Norway win again?
They haven't won yet. It's only been going a couple of hours.
Well, it finishes in a couple of hours. It's 2 hours and 3 minutes usually.
No, they don't do 45 kilometers an hour.
Then they're being lazy. Is it 3 hours?
Yeah, I think it's 3 hours basically. But there's a series on TV where a very famous Swedish skier, Gunnar Svan, apparently, took 5 complete non-skiers and was training them up to do the Vasaloppet in stages, I think. They didn't have to do the whole 90K.
All right, so they were doing the stafette.
They were sort of doing the stafette, but I think they were doing it today. And unfortunately, the first guy, there's a hill after the start.
Yes, he just tumbled right down it, did he?
He
got run over.
let's put it like this, it looked like he needed assistance of a medical nature climbing the hill. So
Hang on, climbing? I thought it was a downhill.
no, it's up. It's
It
you have
starts up, but
yeah.
then there's a quite a steep
Yeah,
down.
that's a little bit later. No, this was the up. You know, where the thousands of people is 15,000 starters, and sometimes
That's kind of low.
well, it's between 15 and 17. I don't know whatever it is. But the climb up that hill, the backlog of people, you can be waiting 2 hours just to climb the hill.
Just to start moving.
And you're walking up it. You're not there's no skiing involved. So anyway, that was a bit of drama, but it's going. There's very little snow. You can see, watching the pictures on the side of the tracks. It's just forest basically. I mean, there's a bit of snow around, but nothing like normal. Well, whatever normal is these days. So anyway. That's going on today, which is always exciting for Maura, but it has meant ludicrous amounts of traffic, which is always a pain in the arse to deal with.
Yeah, because the bypass is really working.
Actually, it does make a difference, but I still avoid town. They invested how many billions of krona on that, not bypass, it's just a dual lane thing.
Which doesn't work because it still bottlenecks into one over the bridge. So I don't understand.
No, but it is actually a lot better. But they then stick a pair of temporary traffic lights right in the middle of town so pedestrians can cross from the car park. So all of that work is just negated to meaningless because you have an extra set of traffic lights just installed. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, that's that. Obviously, there are far more, I was about to say interesting, sort of worrying developments happening all over the place.
Like
primarily in America, actually.
Of course.
Primarily in America. But, it's amazing that people... there must be a proportion of Republican voters who are starting to get pretty nervous.
I don't know because, as you said yourself, the only American press allowed inside the White House at the moment is Fox News, so they probably don't even know half of what he's up to.
You might be right, and maybe they're just not motivated to find. All I'm thinking is that it's going to be that fraction of the Republican voters that still have their brain attached that need to start questioning, what's going on. Because, last week, everything's happening so quickly. Alex was saying that basically Hitler took over in 53 days and everything is in place. Well, he has taken over, in fact. There's no question about it. Not only has he sacked all of the top brass in the military, but he's also sacked all of the top lawyers in the military. And when he was being interviewed, amazingly, the defense minister, what's his name, Hesketh or Heckes or something.
No idea.
Even the Fox interviewer said, well, are you doing this to make it easier for you to do illegal things? And he said,
of course,
something like, we want to remove obstacles in doing what is right for the US or something. I mean, basically admitting that he's willing to do anything that he wants to do. So he sacked all these. I think he sacked the top of the army, top of the navy. I mean, it's just, and then of course you had this Zelensky interview.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
No, but I've seen enough written about it.
Oh, really? You didn't actually watch? It was interesting to watch because the thing that struck me was the thing that really wound Trump up was that Zelensky didn't actually lose his cool. It was that idiot Vance telling Zelensky that he was raising his voice, when in fact it was there in front of all of the cameras. He maintained a degree of decorum that the other two, there's Trump wagging his finger and there's Vance. Vance actually let slip. It's quite amazing how you don't need to listen to what Zelensky said, just listen to what Vance said. Vance said something like, "I saw you at Biden's rally in Philadelphia." But what's that got to do with anything? I mean, Biden had been supporting Zelensky, giving him weaponry. He came across and was thanking Biden by appearing, justifiably or not, at some of his election rallies. So that must have really riled Trump. Because, of course, the other thing that I had forgotten about while I was watching that interview, do you remember in, I think it was 2019, you probably remember when Trump was reporting about that perfect call. It was a perfect call. Do you remember?
Putin?
No, with Zelensky.
Oh, with
He
Zelensky.
actually phoned Zelensky and said, if you don't give me dirt on Biden, I'm going to make it difficult to give you, for the US to give you weapons. And that was the one that basically caused his impeachment. I mean, that was what initiated Trump's impeachment proceedings. So they've had it in for this fellow Zelensky from the word go. But, Vance is saying, when have you ever thanked the American people for what they've done? And it was one of the news stations, I can't remember who it was, that then played a whole series of Zelensky thanking the American people for their invaluable support in this ridiculously difficult time. I mean, this fellow Vance just making stuff up as he went along. But anyway, the end result is, of course, that it didn't go well for Zelensky because he didn't literally get down on his knees and start giving Trump a blowjob in front of the cameras, which is what Trump wanted.
Yeah, of course.
So we are where we are. But as Trump said, I don't know, if you've got to watch it, it's literally at the end of that, where Trump is wagging his finger, effectively throws Zelensky out of the office. He literally says to the camera, "This is going to make great television."
I mean, he also threw him out of the White House, I heard.
Yeah, well, exactly. That was it. He threw him out. But for Trump to actually turn in front of the press, not behind the cameras, he said, "This is going to make great television."
I mean, does he think he's still making his Apprentice series or something?
I don't know, Andy. I don't know.
Is he waiting to say you're fired?
Yes, exactly. You're fired. But as I say, I'm pretty certain that at some stage, right-minded, I mean, anybody who just thinks, you don't even have to support the Democrat politics, but you have to see that Trump is not the man. And the other thing I was watching, sadly, I follow all this shit because you don't. Who was being interviewed? Someone was being interviewed. They have these committees. They love their committees in America. They were interviewing a number of individuals, and there was this one fellow, not surprisingly a Democrat. He said, right, so Musk gets 400 million contracts from the government that are being investigated by the fraud commission. What happened to the head of the fraud commission? Oh, we don't know, these people are saying. He was fired. And then he went through literally a series of 4 or 5 bodies that were investigating Musk for fraud or misallocation of funds or whatever. And they had all been fired by Musk. And they were, these people were trying to keep a straight face. It was so blatant. And the other thing I read about the other day was miraculously, the company that got a contract for something to do with satellites or something, Verisure or whatever it was. I can't remember the name of the company. It was $400 million. It was a reasonable sized contract. Funnily enough, they've lost the contract. And who's been awarded the contract?
Would it be
SpaceX.
Musk?
So, I mean, it's just unbelievable. We're seeing it, as I've said before, in real time. It can't be long before people start taking to the streets in America. It
Well, I
can't be
think
long.
Bill Burr said it best when he said that billionaires should be put down like the fucking rabid dogs they are.
Well, yeah. Yes, I think that's a little bit strong. I don't think Bill Burr said that.
Oh, he did. According to my Facebook feed.
No, because Bill Burr's quite a reasonable fellow. He's the one whose Russian lawyer got assassinated by Putin, I think. Oh, no.
Bill Burr, the American comedian.
Comedian, exactly. I'm thinking of someone else. Who am I thinking of? Bill?
I have no idea. Bill Bixby, the Hulk?
No. Yes, you're right. And he's the New Yorker, isn't he? And he's always talking about... anyway, whatever. So it's been a busy old week for all sorts of things, I have to say. None of it particularly, well, in my book, none of it particularly positive.
It's a very funny... I'm just going to check the front page of the Disgusting Sun.
Ah, yes. What are they? I can't do that because I can't do... Can I do that?
Oh, now, Keir Starmer is holding crisis summit talks with Zelensky and European leaders today on a Sunday.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. That's right. Because Zelensky came straight to the UK from Washington.
Yeah, now it'd be interesting to see what Keir Starmer says because he is bound to kiss up on Donald Trump's side.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think what's going to happen is that which is what Trump has been asking for, that the Europeans take more responsibility for their own defence.
Well, we have to anyway because the Americans always come late to the game.
Well, sort of.
What's the point of that?
Unfortunately, it's a difficult game for the Europeans because obviously what Trump wants is the natural resources in Ukraine.
I know, and he asked him to sign them over.
Yeah, well, he wanted them to sign a contract.
Yeah.
And Zelensky refused.
Yeah.
Without certain assurances, whatever they were worth. I mean, it's a bit of a catch-22 situation because if Zelensky had signed the documents, then Trump would have had a natural interest in protecting Ukraine because he was the one that was going to benefit from the natural resources. Whereas if he didn't, Putin probably will in the end. So Zelensky was... anyway, the point I'm making is if the Europeans sign a deal with Zelensky, then Trump's going to go crazy. He's missed out on a deal and he's going to go crazy if Zelensky goes, well, if Europe are helping me defence-wise, then I'll sign a deal with them. Why not?
Yeah.
But the other thing in the interview was right early on, Trump said, well, of course, the US has given far, far more money than Europe because he's been touting this for weeks. And Zelensky simply said, no, they haven't. No, they haven't. And Trump said, what are you talking about? Yes, we've given so much more. We've supported you far more than Europe. And Zelensky said, no, you haven't. And that riled Trump as well. Someone actually, because it's just not true. It's literally not true. Europeans collectively have done more than the States. Anyway. We'll see. Just going back to last week's episode, that fellow Ross Ulbricht.
Yeah.
What's he doing now? Have you followed up?
No.
All right.
No.
Was he able to keep his millions?
Well, he didn't make that many. And also, I would be very surprised if the government managed to claw it all back.
Oh,
Also, I mean, you can imagine the amount of job offers he would have had, stupid job offers.
well, from the Pentagon, I may, or from the White House.
From anybody. I mean, yeah, from every government agency.
Oh, the other strange thing that happened this week, which no one can quite understand, was, you know, those Tate brothers, the sort of self-proclaimed misogynists.
Oh, God, yes.
They were spirited out of Romania.
Yeah,
on a private jet.
On the say-so of the bloody US ambassador, if you don't mind.
Is that what you read? I don't understand. Why are the
Oh, the
US wanting
Americans
to
put
release
pressure.
the Tates?
They put pressure on them to let them out of custody on the promise that they would return for their trials.
But why? Why are America interested in that? I mean,
well, the pair of these little fuckers are both UK and US citizens.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
They're UK and Romanian citizens, aren't they?
No. They moved to Romania to set up their slavery business. They are not Romanian citizens.
All right, so they are US citizens. Okay, well, that's sort of, but the thing is, why? Well, because there's nothing politically beneficial about people.
No, but they probably go to they probably go to the same underage sex clubs as Trump and his mates.
Oh, maybe they facilitated. Yes, maybe they facilitated young girls to.
Yeah, they've probably provided a few worthless, replaceable bints.
Who was that lawyer? Who was that lawyer of Trump who literally got caught with his trousers down with some young girl in the bedroom, in a hotel bedroom?
Oh, that was Rudy Giuliani.
Rudy Giuliani.
He was the mayor of New York.
He literally got, didn't he? I mean, didn't they have a camera in the room and he literally had his trousers?
It was Sacha Baron Cohen, wasn't it? It was the second Borat film.
No.
Yes, they set him up for the Borat thing. And when he was getting his pee-pee out, Borat came steaming in the room saying, "Please, leave her alone. She's too old for you. She's 15.
What do you mean? That was a comedy film, and it was actually, and he fell for it.
Yes, fell for it big time. Fucking nonce.
But was Sacha Baron Cohen brave enough to actually include it in that stupid movie?
I mean, every time he makes a Borat film, he has to lay low for like 5 years because he's a bigger target than Trump.
But those Tate guys, they were talking a lot about it on the radio, and they were saying how many, young men actually follow their...
Yeah, they're role models.
They are literally role models. And the thing is that they're just so nasty. They must have such small penises, these people, to be treating women in the way that they do. I mean, openly saying, that women should be subservient to men and all this stuff. I mean, what are they worried about? What are they afraid of, these people? I don't understand it.
Look, they're not afraid of anything. The thing is, they saw a marketplace and they filled it.
Is that what you think? It's just money, you think?
And they saw the reaction to them being like misogynistic, and they just capitalized on it.
Wow.
Getting messages.
No, who's messaging you?
Important.
What was that?
It's my phone.
What was that whistle?
Oh, it's Robin's girlfriend.
Saying you're fired.
No, she's very grateful for the help I did. Her podcast is now live on YouTube.
Who's this?
Robin's girlfriend asked for some pointers and some help with her podcast.
Robin is your work colleague who resigned not so long ago.
No, he hasn't resigned.
Oh, who was it who resigned?
We've had so many.
Oh, I thought you had someone called Robert.
We had a Robert.
Oh, Robert resigned, did he?
And this week will be Teresa's last week.
No.
Yep.
What?
Off to Norway.
Oh, I didn't know that was so. I thought she was waiting 3 months or something.
No,
Oh, dear.
no, but
Well,
she
that's going to be a
has.
bit of a shame for you.
Don't even know.
No, I think she was your only source of reality socializing. Not reality socializing, whatever you call it. Oh.
Come on, leave me alone now.
Well, if it's this girl you help with podcasting, can't you just respond, I'm podcasting? It's not all about you.
Yeah. Recording right now.
Now. What is her podcast about?
It's a neighbours thing.
Neighbours?
It's just a chat. Two Swedish ladies talking about
In English or Swedish?
in Swedish.
Oh, I see. Well, that's a limited market.
Yeah, but I did say to her that, you know, if you want to talk about the dirt between your toes, you'll find an audience.
What, like we have, you mean?
I mean, you can literally talk about anything and someone will be interested somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, it would be good if it had some sort of intrinsic value.
I think that the neighbour thing could be quite interesting, especially in Sweden, where people think neighbours are just there to fill up the other apartments, because they don't have neighbourhood communities in Sweden like they do in most other countries.
It's not true, actually, and I have a case in point.
Yeah, but your one is different because yours are all
Why?
well-to-do, wealthy people who
No,
just...
they're not.
Yeah,
They're completely normal.
No, they're not. They're not normal at all. Normal is
What
where
do you
you
mean?
don't
I
even
know
know the name of the person who lives next door to you. That's normal in Sweden.
I don't. I think that's a bit of a stereotype.
No, it's absolutely true.
If that's the right word.
I've spent many, many years living next door to people in Sweden, and I've never, ever hardly spoken to any of them. I spoke to my last neighbour in Vormhus, but that was only because she used to stand outside her door smoking. That's the only reason we ever had words, because she was outside her door.
Well, all I would say is there are other versions of that where, in fact, there is a very, and I'm not talking about me, actually, I'm talking about the other side of the island, where there really is
the poor side, the other side of the tracks, where the riffraff abode.
No, where my daughter lives. There is a true community spirit where the neighbours look out for each other.
Mm.
So it's not just as you say. I'm sure, you know, there are... What, did you ever speak to your neighbours in Camden?
Yeah.
Bollocks, did... Oh, yeah. What, when they were complaining about the loud music and the...
Best people to ask if you needed some drugs.
Yes, exactly. I was just about to say, either complaining about the loud music or trying to score or sell you drugs.
Anyway, look, we've been talking for half an hour. We haven't got anywhere. Reggie?
Yeah.
So, we're thankfully finally finished with that absolute nonsense. Unfortunately, we've got quite a long one to go through today.
Oh, dear. And what's this one about?
Well, it's a mystery.
Oh, yes, I like mysteries.
Although everyone in the world has got the answer.
Oh, right. Oh, this is a bit
One
of
way
a
or the other.
conundrum.
It's a divisive case.
Oh,
and
yes.
It is the case of a missing child by the name of Madeline McCann.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We're not going to focus too much
on
the last 20 years, basically. But
she hasn't been missing 20 years, has she?
It's not far off.
No.
It was 2007, so it was 18 years ago.
Oh, my God.
Unbelievable.
No, but the only thing that I immediately get nervous when you start talking about things like that, because I know you're a bit of a conspiracy theorist.
It's
and
not a
you're gonna be
conspiracy.
saying, it was the parents that done it.
It's not a conspiracy, and I'll thank you not to steal my thunder.
Idiot. Oh, dear.
It was obviously the parents what done it. Right,
No,
anyway.
But in fact, has that... Well, I know I can't say... Has the fellow been charged yet?
No, you can't, because do you know what? This is why I wanted to do this as well. It's because for the last fucking 5 years, the whole world has been trying to pin it on this guy. And they've dug up basements. I remember you saying, oh, we'll get some news any day now. They're digging up his cellar. They've dug up basements. They've dug up everything.
We've never even spoken about it.
Yes, we have. And this guy has been persecuted for fucking 5 years at least, and they still cannot pin anything on him, which just goes to prove they are full of shit.
Look, Andy.
But now we haven't even started, and you've got me going.
No, but how is it you always find yourself...
I'm not on the wrong side of anything.
You are... The fellow that you're talking about has been stitched up. He's inside. He's actually serving a prison sentence for child molestation.
He's guilty of several things, but not this thing.
No, I know, but the thing is that for you to be such an avid defender of
No, because I don't believe you just stitch someone up because they've already done something similar. No, I do not agree with that.
No, all right, okay, well, let's go.
Fucking hell. Right, see you next week.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, you've just ruined my whole episode. I mean,
what do you mean?
basically my whole episode. So
you haven't blamed the parents yet. Let's get back to the start where you blame the parents.
When the McCann guilty party went on their family holiday to Praia de Luz, in Portugal back in 2007, they never imagined the nightmare.
We don't have to have the pirate accent while you can talk about it in a normal... God, dear.
So it was the evening of May the 3rd. The daughter Madeline was allegedly taken from their apartment.
No, that's not alleged. She was taken from their apartment.
Okay.
What do you mean?
I'll
she's
agree
still there?
that she's not there now.
Right. Okay. So there's no allegedly involved. She was taken from the apartment.
The parents, Kate and Jerry, were allegedly sitting just yards away.
20. Well, what do you mean they were? They were sitting in the restaurant
having drinks with friends.
I thought they were having dinner, but anyway.
Dinner, drinks, whatever. They were out partying.
What are the details? Don't matter.
No, the details really don't matter in this case.
Yeah.
The subsequent Portuguese investigation into the kidnapping would focus initially on the parents as suspects, quite rightly.
Did it?
Yeah.
It initially?
Yes.
But the thing is that I never understood...
And this is the reason that they never actually alerted port authorities or customs officials at airports or anyone else to keep an eye out, because they figured that whatever happened right here in this room with the parents.
But the thing is that what you mean? Oh, I see. You mean it was the theory that something had happened to Madeline in the room and the parents covered it up.
Yes.
It wasn't that the parents sold Madeline or something like that.
No, they were both doctors.
Exactly.
Their theory was probably very similar to mine.
Oh, you've got a theory on this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What, that you still hold to this day?
Yes. Yes.
All right. And so you've said that your theory is that something happened to Madeline.
I know in my head what happened.
Well, no, you're able to speculate in your head. You don't know anything. You know what's in your head, but you know
when you always say trust your gut instinct because it's usually right.
Not with you, Andy.
Oh, I
would never trust
I'm
you
right
on anything.
I know you're a wrong un. My gut tells me that you're a conservative voter.
These two doctors who had committed their life to ending suffering and illness in other people, they do something
real. When have you ever met a doctor who actually holds those values? Fuck off. Especially these two. I'll tell you what these two did. They went on holiday with their children, and rather than actually fork out for a nanny, they sedated their children so they would stay asleep while they went out partying with their friends, and they got the dosage wrong with Madeline.
Is that what you...
Yes, absolutely, 100%. And when they discovered that they'd killed their own child, they fucking covered it up.
Well, it's lucky that, well, hopefully this isn't the first podcast of us that people listen to.
I'm entitled to my opinion.
Of course you are. I'm not stopping you expressing your opinion. I'm just
opinion
expressing doubt
right.
as to the veracity of the story that you tell.
My opinion is 100% correct.
So, all right, well, I'll let you carry on. So we've got it out that you think that the parents killed the child.
But I'm willing...
So not intentionally, obviously, by
I'm willing,
mistake.
No, I'm not saying they just cold-bloodedly killed her. I'm just saying that as a result of a miscalculation.
So, and are you saying, which I didn't know, that was what the Portuguese police
I don't know that
from
was
the
their
word
particular...
go?
I don't know that was their particular suspicion. But they definitely focused on the parents, which is quite right as well. Because if you've got...
How many parents kill their children?
Oh, an amazing amount. An amazing amount. Yes.
Well, that'd be ridiculous. An amazing... What does that mean, an amazing amount?
You've got some women who've got bodies of several children in freezers in their basements for years.
Yeah, but that's like 1 in 20 million or something.
No.
Or 1 in 100 million.
No. You'd be amazed at how many people kill their own children.
Well, obviously I would be. All right.
You should listen to more true crime.
I don't want to
find out.
Because I meet more people like you. Knowing you is enough, Andy.
So anyway,
I don't need more people like
the Portuguese police focused on the parents for basically 5 years.
But did they focus on your scenario?
Look, we're getting past that now. We need to move on. We can't just keep on about my scenario because it's neither here nor there.
I'm asking if that's what the Portuguese police were
focusing on. I told you I don't know exactly what they were looking at because no one ever got told.
Yes, they did. The fellow published a book about it.
Yes, he was then sued by the McCanns.
Yeah, and I can't remember who won.
I don't care. The thing is, this initial inquiry closed after 5 years in 2008. And after that, the McCanns set up their own investigation with Scotland Yard.
Why are you putting on a Ponzi voice now?
Because they're Ponzi, I'm afraid.
Because they're doctors, you immediately... Oh, dear.
Now, look, the McCanns are still together, right?
Yeah.
Mostly, 98% of the time, when a child goes missing like this or is murdered, at some point the parents will start to blame each other for their negligence, and they generally split up. The McCanns have stuck together for 18 years. There's only one reason for that.
You're not
because they are
speculate that they can't separate.
Let me finish. Because they are each other's alibi.
I mean,
you can laugh.
Yeah, but it's just, of course, I mean, that is an absolute possibility. I don't dispute that. But this is like your moon landing stuff. You had a flimsy photograph of something and you say...
Couples split up over some things a lot less traumatic than the loss of a child.
So because they've stuck together.
They start blaming each other. They can't help it. It's human nature. You want to blame somebody. These two have stuck together.
This is an argument that's supporting your conjecture that the fact that they're still together is because they can't separate because they're each other's alibi.
Yes.
Good on you, Andy. Yeah. Okay, carry on.
Go on.
Well, the evidence is that you are wrong because they're still walking free, having been pursued by the Portuguese police for 5 years.
Because
and then
this is another thing. I knew this was this was going to be a bad one because I've got to argue every sentence.
Yes, you're only but that's my job, isn't it?
Not every sentence. We're going to be. Right. This is going to be a 5-parter.
All right, carry on. You've got a couple of sentences before I say anything.
Fuck me, I've got so much to get through. So they set up their own investigation. Scotland Yard launched Operation Grange to review the case. Several different suspects were named, but no one has ever been charged with the disappearance. Numerous theories have been put forward. 13 years after she vanished, a new prime suspect was identified, and this is the one you were talking about.
This is the German chap.
This is a German chap called Christian Bruckner. And
is that his name?
Yes. German police announced in June 2020 that Christian B., as you probably know him, a convicted child sex offender currently in prison, was now suspected of kidnapping and murdering the young girl. So during the summer of 2007, when the McCanns went to Portugal, they'd taken with them their 3-year-old daughter Madeline and their 2-year-old twin, her 2-year-old twin brother and sister. The McCanns were vacationing.
Were they older? Were the twins older?
2-year-old.
Oh, so Madeline was 3
younger.
and then 1 year younger. Okay, fine, yeah.
Which, you know, if you're going to kidnap babies and you've got a choice between a pair of twins at 2 years old or a 3-year-old with a gauzy eye, just saying, which one would be the more valuable on the black market?
Luckily, Andy, it's not the sort of thing I speculate about.
No, it's just something to take into consideration. So they went on holiday with 7 friends. 7 friends and their children, I guess.
Why do you sound so shocked at that?
Who
they
has
went
7
on holiday.
friends unless you're dodgy?
Luckily, you do it in such a sort of almost comic way that people might actually realise that you don't necessarily
No one's got
believe
7 friends. Fuck off.
Oh dear. Yes.
So between them, they had 8 kids. These 7 people, which is, again, suspicious. So on the evening of May the 3rd, they all dined together as they did most evening and probably took turns in sedating each other's children. Fucking hell, they became known as the Tapas 7.
Became known by whom?
Probably the media.
Exactly.
They referred to them as the Tapas 7.
Yeah.
I would have called them the Sedative 7. On what was the penultimate day of the holiday, so the day before they were due to go home, the McCanns put their children to bed in apartment 5A at around 1900. And an hour and a half later, the parents met at the Ocean Club's open-air tapas restaurant. The McCanns and the other parents checked on the sleeping children every half hour, they claimed. A sighting by one of the Tapas 7 of an unidentified man carrying a child at 9:15 p.m. was later disregarded by investigators.
Sorry, what? You can't get much more damning evidence than a fellow carrying a child.
Yeah, but if you saw a fellow carrying a child at 9:15, why didn't you take a closer look? Or did you see his fellow carrying a child? I don't know.
So just to, are you, I don't want to put words into your mouth, Andy, but are you implying that these incredible 7 friends of theirs were in some way part of the story?
I'm not implying anything about anything. I'm just giving you the alleged facts of the matter so far. Another sighting, this time at 10 o'clock by tourists Martin and Mary Smith, is believed to have been the approximate time when police suspect Madeline was actually kidnapped. So the sighting at 9:15 is nonsense.
All right. No, but you use the word allegedly checking on the children every half an hour,
Yes.
which implies you don't believe it.
I'm just saying that's what they said they did. There's no way of proving it.
Well, no, but though obviously, if the 7 people have to be, what does it say, conspiring together,
yeah,
for
but
that not to be true.
If they were checking every hour and they felt guilty or ashamed about that because they know they shouldn't have left their kids alone anyway, then they could quite easily take it from an hour to 30 minutes without feeling that they're covering up anything. They're just making themselves look less terrible parents.
Well, I don't know what
I would never. I mean, for me, I would never have left a 3-year-old Hannah alone in an apartment on a holiday anywhere. Absolutely not. And I don't think many parents would.
It's a good question. Would I? Probably not.
It's just not the thing. You just don't. Anyway, this man, seen at 10 o'clock by Martin and Mary Smith, was walking away from the McCann's apartment. And I want to clarify that he wasn't walking from the front door of the McCann's apartment. He was walking from that direction, carrying a girl aged 3 to 4 years who had blonde hair and pale skin and was wearing light-coloured pyjamas and was barefooted, which is quite a good description for an eyewitness who are notoriously worse than lie detector tests.
So that was, sorry, let's get back to the nitty-gritty. That was at 10 o'clock, did you say?
That was at 10 o'clock.
All right, so that happened at...
We're not finished with the eyewitness, right?
Oh, I see. There's more from that eyewitness.
Oh, God, yeah. The man was described as 5'7" to 5'9". Slim
you
to
don't
normal
have to
build.
put a silly accent on.
Slim to normal build with short dark hair and wearing cream or beige trousers.
Yes.
The Smith said he didn't look like a tourist. Now, I don't know what that
a
means.
tourist like. Normally tourists are wearing shorts and T-shirts.
And had seemed uncomfortable carrying the small child. Well, what does that even mean? Kate McCann then made a check on her children at 10 o'clock, and Scotland Yard said in 2013 that Madeline was most likely taken moments before she arrived. And they weren't even in the country.
Who weren't in the country?
Scotland Yard.
Well, they're not on any crime scene when they actually happen.
No, but they said that Madeline was most likely taken in the few moments before she went to do her check.
It was probably as a result of some sort of evidence.
No, because of the result of this uncanny eyewitness that has got a photographic memory.
So just so I get the picture, are you saying that this is a credible eyewitness?
I'm saying that
not?
none of them are credible. None of them are credible. And the problem is that a lot of people who were staying at the result were never even questioned by the police. The whole investigation was a farce from the word go.
Yeah, but that can't be laid at the feet of the McCanns if they were trying to get away with something. They're not in control of the whole of the Portuguese police force, or
No.
are they? Are they in the game as well? Are they part of the conspiracy as well?
There is no conspiracy.
What do you mean there's no
What
conspiracy?
conspiracy are you talking about?
You're promoting
It's not a conspiracy.
Well, it is.
It's not.
You're saying that the 7 friends at the dinner table.
I didn't say anything about them conspiring anything.
Yeah, but but hang on a second. You're saying that you're doubting that they check them every half an hour.
I'm saying I will not take anything they say at face value. That's all.
All right, but
because I don't trust them.
Okay, fine. And you don't trust the eyewitnesses?
No, and eyewitnesses are notoriously unreliable. They're worse than lie detector tests for reliability.
And you don't trust the Scotland Yard because they weren't at the scene when the crime happened?
Also, I've met coppers. I mean, come on.
All right, so is there anybody in this whole story that you do trust as a source of information?
I trust Bill.
Who's Bill?
Bill.
Why have you called yourself Bill?
I'm Bill Clinton.
Oh, and I'm Monica.
Yes. Have you just got that?
Well, I didn't see Bill because you got a bit of white carpet just by where I didn't even see Bill.
Oh, there we go.
All right, okay. So just, and I'm sure there's lots to get through, but just so we can summarise.
It's already going to be a 2-parter because we haven't even got it.
Quickly summarise. So you don't trust the Scotland Yard because they weren't on the scene at the time of the crime. You don't trust the Portuguese police because they're incompetent. You don't trust any of the eyewitnesses, and you don't trust, obviously, the 7 friends that were actually present on the evening of the event, but who you do trust is your own gut feeling towards the crime.
There are a lot of people who were on site when something happened There's been tens of millions of pounds over the years and untold investigations and interviews and whatever carried out. This has been one of the most expensive and longest manhunts of all time with 0 results.
Well, you say in your mind 0 results, though that German
It's not
fellow,
my mind.
Has he actually been prosecuted or
No,
not?
and he never will
hasn't.
be. He never will be, because they cannot link him to this, no matter how hard they fucking try. Every time they say, "Oh, we've got you," and he says, "No, well, actually, I was diddling another kid over there at that time," and he can prove it.
Oh. Anyway, so no, that's fair enough. So let's carry on. We've got that your gut feeling is supersedes all other investigative bodies and, in fact, the media.
Well, and I can prove.
Oh no, actually, that's not true.
I can prove that I'm right in that, because my gut feeling has had exactly the same result as all those millions of pounds spent over the last 18 years. Absolutely nothing. So.
No, but you've got to accept
Clearly I'm right.
the media conclusion. What would you say? Well, are we getting to that? The media circus that followed all of this.
The media circus, it's all going to be included, obviously.
All right. Anyway, carry on. Good.
Okay, so when Kate discovered that Madeline was missing, she ran back to the restaurant screaming, "Madeline's gone! Someone's taken her!"
For God's sake, Andy.
An immediate search consisting of 60 resort staff and guests was conducted and eventually ended at 4:30 a.m, finding no trace of the missing child.
All right, so based on your scenario, where is she?
Well,
when all those 60 people...
That will come out later.
What you mean, from your idea or other people's ideas?
No, we're going to find out what their searches consisted of and where the holes are.
Oh, I see. So
let's
basically,
not jump the gun.
No. But all I'm saying is, where do you think she was?
I don't want to tell you now, because that's coming up.
Oh, I see. All right, carry on then.
So Portuguese police began their official investigation that many observers described as flawed and botched right from the start. Although police patrol dogs were brought in and a search of all the sewers, waterways, wells, caves and ruins was undertaken, neither the border or the marine police were given descriptions of Madeline for several hours.
What is that cat doing to your chair?
What do you mean? He's just coming to say hi.
But he's ripping it to pieces.
It's too late to worry about that. Hello, mate. Hello, big boy.
I hope he doesn't do that to your head.
Oh, he's the best boy. He's a good boy.
All right. Anyway, sorry, carry on. I got distracted watching that fellow. I thought he was going to start ripping you to shreds.
No, he's a good boy.
He's digging his claws into the leather.
How else would he balance up there?
Well, you could tell him not to get up there, surely.
Don't get up there, you. It's not working, Mark.
Oh, God.
He's
anyway,
the king of the castle.
Clearly.
So,
all right.
Yeah. So border and marine police weren't given descriptions and no house-to-house searches were made at all. Roadblocks.
Sorry, house to house on the resort or
Yes.
house to house outside of the resort?
Well, anywhere. Anywhere.
What?
Yes.
They had 60 staff searching a holiday resort that didn't go into any of the houses?
No.
Oh, you've stopped?
No, I haven't stopped.
Oh, sorry. I thought you'd frozen.
I just said no. It's like, this is how it went down. So it wasn't until 10 o'clock the following morning that they put roadblocks up.
12 hours later?
Yes, 12 hours after a child's been reported missing. And police didn't even request motorway surveillance images of vehicles leaving Praia de Luz on the night of the disappearance. Similarly, it took Interpol 5 days to issue a global missing person alert. But most crucially, the crime scene itself was not secured, and as many as 20 people entered the apartment, 5A, before it was closed off. And finally, as I said before, Not everyone at the resort was interviewed at the time, and holidaymakers later contacted British police to say nobody had spoken to them while they were there. Several individuals initially suspected of involvement would later be ruled out of the investigation. The first main suspect was a chap called Robert Murat, who was a 34-year-old British...
Wasn't he? Yeah, he was a convicted sex offender or something.
Not necessarily a sex offender. He was a 34-year-old living with his mother. I don't know if that counts.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean guilt.
But he was a British-Portuguese property consultant, and he lived at his mother's house, located just 150 yards from apartment 5A.
Yeah.
And he had initially put himself forward for the investigation as an official interpreter, explaining that he wanted to help with the investigation, which can seem suspicious.
That was a bit dodgy. Yeah, I can understand that.
He was soon made a suspect after a Sunday Mirror journalist told police that Murat had been asking questions about the case. 3 members of the Tapas 7 said that they'd seen Murat outside apartment 5A shortly after the disappearance. However, he lived 150 metres away. And his mother said that he was home all evening and all night on the night that that Madeline went missing.
But he'd been spotted by eyewitnesses.
Allegedly.
All right. But sorry, is he a sex offender?
No.
Well, he's just a property developer.
Yeah, who lives with his mother.
With no criminal record whatsoever.
Not that I'm seeing at the moment.
So I wonder why they suspected him.
Because he was a single man living in his mum's house. That's all you need. That's all you need.
I don't think they even had incels in those days, didn't they? Did they? I don't think they did. Not saying he was, but all right.
Now, yeah. In May 2007, Murat's home was searched by police, who also drained his pool, examined his cars, phones, computers, and videotapes. His garden was searched using ground radar and sniffer dogs, and 2 of his associates were questioned. By July 2008, 6 years after the disappearance, his status as a suspect was lifted when the case was archived.
No. Hang on. So when was Madeline, whatever happened to her kidnap? When did that happen?
2007.
2007.
Yeah, sorry, it was a year later.
It was 1 year later, right. Okay, yep. So he was the first major suspect, was he?
Yes.
And they found no evidence to support it.
Yeah, his case was basically archived. So he would later receive 600 grand in out-of-court settlements for libel in relation to many news articles.
From the media.
Suspect. Yes.
Yep. Probably quite justified.
Now, there was a British paedophile called Raymond Hewlett who reportedly told someone that he knew what happened to Madeline, but later retracted this claim. Investigators attempted to question Hewlett in May 2009, but he died from cancer in December of that year. Another focus of the investigation was Urs Hans von Eisch, a deceased Swiss man who had been implicated in the murder of 5-year-old Jelenia Lenhardt in Switzerland in July 2007, nearly 3 months after Madeline vanished. Von Eisch was residing in Spain at the time of her disappearance. Clement Freud, if you remember Clement Freud.
I do, actually. What's he famous for?
He was a broadcaster, basically.
Wasn't he a chef as well, a celebrity, one of the first celebrity chefs?
He was a psychologist or a psychiatrist, I think. Oh no, that was Sigmund, his brother.
The surname Freud. For God's sake.
Anyway,
he was suspected of it.
No, he was interviewed by Operation Grange officers. Well, actually, he was kind of suspected because he had been accused in 2016, of having committed a string of child sexual abuse. He had a home in Praia de Luz and had even befriended the McCanns in July 2007, weeks after the incident. but his family would claim that he was in the UK prior to that.
I remember him now. Can you picture him?
I can. He's bearded, baldy head.
Shall I show that to the camera?
Yeah, that's him. So we get to early June 2020. I wanted to skate over most of that very quickly so that we can get to the meat of the matter. And the meat of the matter is Christian Bruckner. Or Christian B.
Christian B, who is the latest fellow to be actually accused because he's sitting in jail.
And he's obviously guilty. So
Well, not obviously, but he's the main suspect.
But he's been the main suspect for 5 years on basis of nothing.
Well, that's not nothing.
It is.
It's no
based
material
on
evidence.
Nothing.
No. You're saying it's based on no material evidence.
Which is what you need, I'm afraid.
Well, no, it's not.
Well, of course it is.
What? So if a paedophile was proven to be 50 metres from the scene of the crime, you don't think that's an indication, at least, that it's worth investigating?
Yes, but not for 5 years.
Well, I don't know how. I don't
Either
know what
come
the
up with your evidence or move on.
Statute of limitations is on investigating these sort of things.
They've tried in so many ways to pin this on this guy, and they failed at every turn. And there's
they failed to come up
for
with
that.
any concrete evidence.
They have come up with zero
Evidence.
Nothing. Nada.
What? So he wasn't even in the area?
Oh, Mark, they've tried their hardest. They've dug up.
I'm asking you. It's a genuine question.
They've dug up everywhere that the man has ever set foot, looking for the body of Madeline McCann, and they've come up with nothing. But let's just carry on with this.
Yeah, I know. But
otherwise, we'll just stand here doing this until next week.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a 3-weeker.
Yes,
obviously.
So by early June 2020, which is about 100 years before we get to the end of this, a new suspect had been identified. And it was, by that time, 13 years since the young girl had disappeared.
So nothing happened between 2009, when Clement Freud, the celebrity chef...
Nothing of any consequence happened. In fact, nothing of any consequence happened from the day of the disappearance until the day that they decided this German guy did it. And that was of no consequence as well. But it had been 13 years since she disappeared. And German police made the announcement that they were investigating an inmate who was currently serving a prison sentence as a person of interest. He was identified only as Christian B, as per German privacy laws with regards to identifying criminal suspects. Der Spiegel, or The Mirror, reported...
Do you know, I've only just realised that.
Really?
The Der Spiegel is one of the top-selling newspapers in Germany, and I never realised it was actually called The Mirror in English.
It's Swedish as well.
It's a broadsheet newspaper, though, Der Spiegel, or is it
I think it is a broadsheet in German.
I think it's I say a proper newspaper, you know what I mean.
Yeah, one that you actually iron before you fold.
I get you to iron before I read it. Yeah, exactly.
No, iron my newspaper.
All right, carry on.
So, yes. They reported his criminal record contained 17 entries, including a conviction for the sexual abuse of a child in 1994 when he was aged 17, and a 2016 conviction for abusing another child, as well as possession of child pornography. He had been living in Portugal for many years since the 90s, then left and returned to Germany shortly after Madeline went missing.
Right, so is that's the initial trigger that caused them to get interested in this fellow?
Yeah, because he happened to be in the same country at the time that she went missing.
Right.
The suspect was eventually named as Christian Bruckner, and he soon came to the attention of the world's media and became the primary focus of the Madeline McCann investigation.
Good.
Now, 49-year-old Christian had a long and varied history that began during his early teenage years. He was born to a woman named Fischer. He was given up to youth authorities at an early age and adopted by the Bruckner family. Between 1992, when he was 16, and 1994, he resided at a facility for young people with learning difficulties. A neighbour reportedly told German newspaper Bild Picture
That bit I got.
that there were only bad young people there. Now, during his time there, he committed his first burglary and he received a suspended jail sentence. Upon finishing his high school education, Bruckner undertook an apprenticeship as a car mechanic. However, in September 1993, he sexually abused a 6-year-old girl in a playground. He only stopped groping the terrified young girl when she began to scream and cry, and then he ran away. Arrested for this offence, the 17-year-old was due to answer the charges in court in May 1994 when he attempted to then assault a 9-year-old girl. Now, he would be arrested for this offence and was later convicted of sexual abuse of a child, attempted sexual abuse of a child, and carrying out sexual acts in front of a child. According to Bild, as well as abusing the 6-year-old in a playground, Bruckner had been caught exposing himself to a 9-year-old boy in his hometown of Würzburg in Bavaria.
I've been there. It's on the river.
Have you?
It's a nice place.
Did you expose yourself to any children?
No, I didn't actually. It was too cold. It was, there was a firework. Oh, no, it might have been in the summer. Yeah, it was actually. Yeah,
It
was
wouldn't have
in
been
the
your
summer.
finest moment exposing yourself in those temperatures.
No, exactly. All right, yeah.
He reportedly dropped his trousers in front of the young child and was then seen fleeing the area. For these crimes, he was given a 2-year suspended sentence, which is another episode.
Yeah.
At his trial at the Würzburg District Court, he was asked by the juvenile judge what he thought about his actions, and he replied, "I didn't think anything." A woman who lived near the residential youth facility where he stayed later told Bild, "I moved away because I feared he would attack my child." By 1995,
Perfectly
Bruckner,
reasonable reaction of a parent.
Yeah. By 1995, Bruckner had broken the terms of his suspended sentence and he faced rearrest and the possibility of having to serve the full 2-year custody sentence. So he fled to Portugal with his then girlfriend, 11-year-old Anna. That was a joke.
I'm sure people are laughing in the aisles, Andy.
I know, I can't help it.
God.
He fled to Portugal with his then girlfriend, where they settled in the Algarve town of Lagos.
So hang on a second. Sorry, I just want to get how old this bloke is. How old was he when he moved to Portugal with his girlfriend?
Oh, wow. Well, he was still teenage years, I would imagine.
So he was still young. He was still young.
Yeah.
Early 20s, late teens.
1995.
All right.
So the two would support themselves by taking on casual jobs. Together they moved into a house in Praia de Luz. But the relationship soon broke down when Bruckner engaged in a series of casual affairs. He then found work as a waiter and handyman at the resort, where he would often break into guest houses and steal whatever he could sell. In 1999, he served a 2-month sentence at Evora prison for a minor offence, and after some 4 years on the run, the now 22-year-old was finally arrested by Portuguese police at the behest of German authorities and sent back to serve out his 2-year youth custody sentence that he'd run away from.
So that was still on the original child molestation offence?
Yes. By 2004, Bruckner was back in Portugal, where he began a relationship with an English woman in the Praia de Luz resort. It's believed that he had served several prison sentences in Portugal, where he was well known to police for breaking into holiday apartments and hotels, as well as drug dealing. So he had a bit of form out there. Now, just to throw you off his MO, his next offence,
modus operandi.
Modus operandi.
Yes.
His next offence was out of nowhere. Around September 2005, he was arrested for the rape of a 72-year-old American widow at the same resort where Madeline McCann would later go missing. Bruckner
so he did live in the area. I mean,
yes.
he was local to the...
He worked in the same resort as a handyman in these years, but not necessarily.
Not while Madeline was there.
Not necessarily while she was there.
Oh, I see. All right. Yeah.
So Bruckner had entered the woman's home through the patio door wearing a black balaclava mask and armed with a foot-long sword, and proceeded to grab the woman and drag her by the hair to the bedroom where she was gagged, blindfolded and tied up with rope. He then subjected her to a terrifying 15-minute ordeal during which she was raped and beaten with a flexible metal whip. Afterwards, he demanded money and frog-marched her into the kitchen where the traumatised woman handed him €100 from her purse. The victim, who by 2020 was 85 years old, was left so traumatised she departed Portugal soon after and returned home to her native US, where she would only ever sleep with the lights on.
Sorry, was he actually prosecuted for that as well? Clearly, because the details are out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
She told police that her sadistic attacker derived pleasure from the attack. I felt that he enjoyed torturing me, she said. The woman believed Bruckner put her through what she described as a methodical procedure, which was long and planned. When he was finished with his victim, he locked her in the bathroom and fled, taking with him her home computer. Portuguese authorities eventually dropped the rape investigation in 2006 due to lack of evidence, but Bruckner would end up serving another 9-month jail term on the Algarve, when he, along with a friend, were caught trying to steal diesel from a marina in Portugal, and he was sentenced to serve 258 days in jail, which he completed shortly before Madeline McCann disappeared.
So hang on a second. Sorry. So he didn't get prosecuted for the rape of the 74-year-old?
No.
So that is... Well, why don't you say allegedly then?
I haven't read this, you realise.
I know, but you're happy to say allegedly when you think it should be done. But this fellow hasn't been prosecuted for her rape. So isn't that allegedly?
He bloody did it.
Well, allegedly.
Bloody did. Okay, allegedly then, but
Right.
I'm on the American lady's side here.
Absolutely. I mean, this fellow sounds like a wrong 'un.
He
Let's
is a
put it
wrong 'un.
like that.
He is a wrong 'un.
I have to remind you, we're an hour and 12 minutes into the podcast.
Yes, and I'm looking for a space where I can.
Well, you should have done that when there was a space 5 minutes ago when you said something. I can't remember what you said.
I can't just I can't finish a whole hour's episode when we're just 2 minutes into the story.
It can't
That's
be
just
2
pathetic.
minutes.
But I will pause it here. So
All right,
because
it's quite convenient.
He's just sentenced to 258 days
for stealing diesel.
For stealing diesel from the marina, and he's released shortly before the disappearance of Madeline McCann. And next week, we will try to continue with the history of Bruckner and where he may or may not fit into Madeline McCann's disappearance.
But just to check, as a podcast,
yes,
you are talking about your gut feelings and you think it was the parents that did it, sort of thing.
I'm not saying that I've solved the case. I'm just saying this is my feeling.
Yeah, so that's fair
everyone
enough.
has their own feelings about this case.
You're right, but then I think it's fully justified that I'm able to say I think it's complete bollocks. What
that's
your
fine.
Feelings indicate. Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
So there's some sort of balance.
No, I will edit that out.
Yes, of course.
So you can say what you like.
Exactly. All right. Well, then we've got until this bloody story carries on next week then.
Yes. And we will pick up with Christian B where we left off. I think I've listened to so many different podcasts about Madeline McCann. I don't think I've ever heard one focused on this guy. I think
especially if you think
we might be the first.
Now, I definitely don't appreciate the Bill and Monica. I didn't see the Bill bit because there's a bit of white carpet just on that screen.
There you go. There you can
No, I
see
still
it.
can't read it.
I've got my arm over it.
Oh, anyway, I think it should be the other way around, Bill and Monica.
Yeah, anyway, we'd like to thank everyone for listening this week. If you made it this far, I know I wouldn't have. So we'll continue it next week, and hopefully we'll come to a conclusion where my gut instincts will prove that once again I am Sherlock Holmes of the podcasting world.
Yes, in your dreams.
Or we'll listen to that nonsense that Mark's going to spout about somebody who could afford a nanny would never, ever be caught dirtying their own hands with the death of their own child. Anyway, have yourselves a strange week. If you do go to Portugal, don't lose any children, and don't go accusing people of things that you can't prove.
Ah, exactly.
Which
Thank
is basically
you.
what I started this episode by doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't forget, you can catch us on the Instagram or not. I can't remember.
I don't know. I'm not in charge of social. I thought Richard was in charge of social media.
Oh, Richard's having his own
exactly.
Insta issues. We're on Facebook anyway, and YouTube, and you can watch us on YouTube. You can see us all over the place. We're out there. And if you're wondering who the hell Richard is, nip over to our Patreon and you can find some episodes there to listen to for free. Or you can even buy us a coffee or buy us a beer and listen to a load of episodes. So many now. Anyway, have yourselves a good week, and we will see you same time, same place next week. Bye for now.
Cheerio.